Welcome back. Today we're going to take a quick look at the brand new iFi Zen Dac version 3. So I call it version 3. They dropped off the 3 from the packaging, and I think the website probably just refers to it as Zen Dac as well. But this one is the third in line, so this is, the design has been updated a little bit for version 3, kind of nicer finishes, a little different colors. So on the front, we do get the power match button, the X-Space button, the big volume knob, which does have a lit ring around it, which you can't see because it is not plugged in. 6.35 for headphones and 4.4 balanced out for your IEMs. On the back, we do have a balanced out, and you can actually change that between variables, so volume controlled or fixed, and use it as a line out to run into an amplifier, powered speakers, USB in, and you can also externally power it with a 5-volt if you find that you need a little more power than USB-C provides, but I thought USB-C was fine. So packaging wise, I think the first thing to notice is they call this one balanced headphone amp preamp. So I think their intention here was to, say you can use it fine as a single device solution, or you can use it to run into another amp. When we look at what the marketing actually says, they sort of twist this a little bit differently and call it for more of a DAC amp for home office use. And I think that's more of the intention of this device. I think it's tuned and has the features that are more like that. On the back of the box, we can actually see some of the specs. And one thing that most people are interested into, you can kind of see it's about 300 milliwatts on 32 ohms on the balanced out. So quite a bit of power, lots of nice specs, but they're not radically different than what the first two versions, and I haven't heard the first two versions, but you can kind of see they did a really nice job of highlighting the things that have changed in blue. So Zen Dac, which is Zen Dac version 3, you can kind of see that they've increased the sample rate that it can handle, so it can actually do now 768 as opposed to being limited to 384. It actually does do DSD up to 512. Not a ton of people using DSD 512, and I'm not sure how many are going to be using it with this particular device, but you have the ability to do it anyway. MQA decoding is still there. As I said, this one actually changed from USB to USB-B to USB-C input, which is super convenient because you can power and plug it into your computer that way. This one does have over voltage protection, which wasn't in the previous ones. New clock, improved power supply. The Xmos USB chip is, I think, the same as that guy. And this one now uses X-Base Plus as opposed to True Base. And I think everything else is pretty much the same. So definitely more of a slight revision from 1 and 2 to 3. This isn't a radical reworking of anything. It's more of a slight upgrade, revision, slightly newer version. If you have 2, you're okay. But we'll kind of get into what this device is more useful for. And as I said, when you look at the website, I think they do pitch it more of a USB-C DAC amp for home and office use, and I think it actually works out better. I think it is a box that was meant to be really sitting on your desk and powered. You use the USB or the RCA outs for your powered speakers. You also have the ability to use headphones and balanced out, and I think it's just kind of a all-in-one box that you can leave on your desk. It looks great. It can be powered on one single cable. You don't need the external power supply. I think all those things, kind of lead up to this, really nice all-in-one box. The one stylish box that you need on your desk to handle both headphones and active speakers, simply powered by USB-C. If you want to upgrade it later and use it as a preamp, you can do that as well. Should you buy version 2 or version 3? I think, from what I read, version 2, I think, is no longer in stock and is maybe no longer in production at all. So I think that's why this one is called Zen Dac. I think this will be the one to rule them all, and the only one that's actually going to be available for purchase. I think it was meant to have all the features of the previous ones, plus add a couple bonus things. Spec Dump, still Burr Brown DAC, support up to 768 and 512 DSDs. MQA decoding is still there. 390 milliwatt headphone output power on balanced, I believe that is. X-Base Plus power match, which is basically a little gain switch if you have a harder to drive headphones. Variable or fixed output switch for line out. So you can, I think this one actually has all of the outputs all at the same time. So if you are running variable or fixed, you can actually do fixed as line out, and I think that's line out on this one and the RCAs. If you are running fixed, you also don't get you don't get X bass. I think X bass is the only thing. The filters do not work when you're using the fixed output, but if you're using variable, then everything is working. If you want to run to your powered speakers and have X bass, you can actually do that. But I think they recommend doing the volume to about 80% to approximate what the line out is, and then you can get X bass at the same time. So that's pretty cool. It's kind of nice to have that option as well. And this one, as I said, can be powered by USB-C or 5-volt power supply. So sound on this one, and I think more so on this one than other iFi devices that I've listened to recently. This one is definitely warmer and smoother, more relaxed, kind of more of a chill box as opposed to maybe an audiophile. And that's kind of why I kind of mentioned this right up front, was I do think this is very much a all day listening background. You just want to give yourself some music during the day, not so much critical listening, but just be provided with nice, smooth, relaxing, easygoing music. And I think that's what this signature is. That's not quite the same as other, maybe they're more audiophile centric, DAC amps or dongles. I think those are a little bit more for critical listening. This one is definitely in the warmer and smoother, non-fatiguing, all day listening category. And being in that way, I will say it's actually a Harman upper mid slayer. If you have really bright sets, this one tends to really relax them out. It's a very relaxed treble presentation that may not work for detail chasers. If you are looking for absolute resolving DAC amp, they have other DAC amps for that. That's not what this one is for. This one not for the detail chasers, but it makes lots of typically upper mid energetic, slightly bright, slightly fatiguing sets, much less fatiguing, much more relaxing, quite nice for longer session listening. And I think that's what this one does pretty well. It also does the tuck fix. If you don't say that too many times quickly, you get that wrong. But yes, I think the X Bass Plus does fill in if you're used to mid bass tucks where they really suck out the mid bass and there's not a whole lot there. That's exactly where X Bass Plus fills in. And again, at lower volume, all day listening, I think that is actually quite nice. I think X Bass is actually on pretty much all of the iFi devices, I think X Bass Plus is a really handy feature to have, especially for these two problems. Super energetic upper mids and mid bass that has been sucked out. I think it actually handles both of those quite well. So other thoughts on this one? I do think this one is the home office desk box, but I thought the headphone outputs were actually really nice, and I don't know why. I thought I had this assumption where these were going to be an afterthought, and they weren't going to sound. There was going to be a little bit of noise there, or they were going to sound a little off. More of an afterthought, and I thought that's the one bit of this box that really felt like iFi was the quality of the headphone outputs. And I know that's kind of a weird thing to say, but just having tried other boxes that have tried to do something similar with a desktop box, I think that they got that part right. And then the fact that you can have really nice headphone outputs and powered speakers at the same time, I thought they really nailed that bit. And the signature of the box may not be perfect for you, but I thought the execution of that signature on the box I thought was actually quite good. X Bass Plus, like I said, one-click fun. You do have power match for your harder to drive headphones. I mean, it's 300 milliwatts. It's actually quite a little powerful box. If you need more power, 5-volt external power supply works too. But generally just a very fine all-in-one box for your casual use at your desk. If you want more iFi features, more power, X Bass, pair with one of iFi's other amps like Zen Signature. They have other amplifiers that will give you more features, and use this one simply as the preamp to those, and you'll be off with a sort of upgraded stack is what they would say. So thank you guys again for tuning in, and I will see you next time.